Hello friends and welcome back into the channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Saturday, my friends. Happy Saturday. Guys, I've been having some computer problems this week. My laptop battery is on the fritz. I do apologize. That is why I have not posted this week. Now, let me tell you just a little bit what's going on in my world. Friends, I do not tape on my laptop, obviously. But I do a whole lot of other things. I work on my laptop. I run, of course, the store. Lots of things, right? I think we all are pretty dependent upon our computers for one reason or another. Point being is my laptop battery has been on the fritz. And it's not even an old laptop. And so it has thrown me off because I do a lot of my editing and things when I'm posting content on my laptop as well, friends. So I am so sorry, guys. I have been on the phone all off and on, basically, all week with, with tech support and now shopping around for a new computer. I'm sure this one is pretty much feeling like it's going to go. And here's the thing, guys. Who knew? Because I did not. And, I'm pretty technology proficient, I would say, for whatever that's worth. But, I did not know. And I only bought this laptop like 4 or 5 years ago. That laptops are now manufactured where when the battery goes, the machine goes. Technically, there's no way to replace the battery. And when you do, it's not like the brand, like an HP or Dell or, Apple, whatever you have. So that's what I just learned, by the way. Didn't used to be that way. It used to be, of course, when we buy any kind of technology, we can always replace parts or what have you. Apparently not so much. So my laptop is still working. However, the battery's not holding a charge, when I'm working. So I get like a couple hours of work in and then I have to shut it off, let it recharge, and, I won't bore you with any other ridiculousness. But that's what's been going on, guys. So sorry I have not posted this week. So anyway, happy Saturday. Let's get into some Saturday funness with our beady goodness and make 3 pairs of earrings today, friends, using craft wire. We're gonna make 3 pairs. Before I do, my bracelet, my friends, this is tucked in my, this might be in my bracelets and my kits inspiration playlist, both of those playlists. And this is a beautiful emerald bracelet, triple strand that I made. I believe this was around the holidays last year. I've got that beautiful pave magnetic clasp, some gorgeous check dangles there, and just in love with this bracelet. That is what I am wearing today. And because, guys, I am so ready to get into some fall colors. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, I hope you guys will grab some craft wire and bead along with me. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to make 3 really fun earrings all out of some 20 gauge. One of them we're going to make an ear wire, and we'll grab some 22 gauge for that. These are really fun. These are really simple. Just some simple dangle earrings using craft wire for those. And I did just stick them on an ear wire. So that's the first pair we're going to make. The second pair we're going to make is another really simple pair of just dangle earrings with 5-6 millimeter rondelles here. Popped them on an ear wire, and I just twisted my wire around. Super fun. Super fun and easy. What I like about these is it doesn't matter how you twist your wire around and how you hang your component on your ear wire. They look different and good any way you look at them. So another really fun, simple earring. This one here, little more, I'd say we'll step up to maybe our intermediate level, and we'll make these, friends, with this beautiful mermaid tail, the moonstone, and that cute check flower. I also made my own ear wire. We'll make our own ear wire here. Guys, this is going to be the matching earring to that beautiful floating chain necklace I made. I could believe that was 2 weeks ago when I made this component. We did that floating chain necklace. So we're going to make the beautiful earrings that are going to match with that beautiful mermaid tail. So that's what we're making. Let's get started with these. These are really simple. Two are simple. We've already determined. I think we'll call that one an intermediate, but really easy. And so we'll go ahead and grab some 22 gauge now, or 20 gauge, guys. So here's what I'm going to do with these. So we're going to make two separate components. I'll pull you down in a minute. We're going to need 2 pieces of wire for this. I'm going to warm up my wire. And let's see, we'll cut for this first pair here. We'll cut about, let's say, a 5-inch piece. Should be plenty. And what I'm going to do here for this one is I'm going to make a wire wrap component. So I'm going to wire wrap both sides on that one. So for that, we will just go ahead and go down a little bit. We will put a bend in our wire, and we will do a wire wrap loop here. And wrap that around. And I'm doing clean wraps on this guy. So there is 2 and then a 3rd. And then we'll go ahead and trim that excess. Let me get a little pile situation going here for all my wire. Okay, and let me zoom you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we've got a wire wrap loop. Now I'm just gonna pop on this 8mm rondelle, and then we are gonna do the same thing here. We are going to do a wire wrap loop on this side. So we'll put a bend in there, and we'll come in here, go up and around, pull the wire down. We will rotate our plier, putting the pressure on the top of the wire, move that wire to the back, make sure that's nice and straight, and then we'll go ahead and wrap that around. 1, 2, and 3, and end that in the back. And so now we've got our first component done. Trim that and tuck that in. And that's what we've got there. So there's our first component. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the bottom one, friends. We'll make our own little head pin here. And we will attach this before we close the wire wrap on that bottom one. And so we will grab another piece of wire, and we will straighten that out. And you know, we can do 4 or 5-inch piece, something like that. Now, what we're gonna do with this one, friends, is we're gonna make that bottom spiral. So in order to do that, I am going to grab my bail making. And I'm gonna use the small 2mm bail. Okay, I'm gonna go right to the end of my wire, and I am going to turn in a loop until it touches my plier right there. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna continue to go down and wrap this wire around below the previous wrap. I'm gonna do that 3 times, and I'm working my way down my bail making here. So now I have, there's my 3rd wrap, and I'm just gonna come around right there to where I see where I started. Okay, so that's what we've got there. Remove my bail making, okay? And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my pliers, and I'm gonna take that top little piece there where we started, and I am going to try to pull that in a little bit to where it's a little more in the center of my circle without distorting my spirals here. Or rather my wraps, excuse me. Okay, so there we go. Now what I'm gonna do, guys, is I am going to take my wire, I'm gonna pull it up and through, but I'm gonna make sure that where we started, that small piece of wire where we started right there, we want that to be on top, okay? So we're just gonna take our wire and go up and around and go right through the middle of that spiral, okay? And then we'll pull our wire. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and push it through. And this is where I'll usually grab my pliers and help the rest of it along. As close as I can get that to come through. And now what I do, here's a little trick for you. Pro tip coming your way. Is we'll go ahead and I'm going to grab my wire with my nylon jaw, and I am going to grab a pair of pliers, and I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm going to push those little wraps up just like that, and now push that down flat up against my nylon jaw. That actually helps to not distort my shape. So that's what I did there, and then we'll straighten, while we got the nylon jaw, we'll go ahead and straighten the wire back out. Okay, and you know, we've got ourselves a little makeshift head pin. Can try to get that in, you know, a little closer if we can, but we don't want to distort. That's why I use 20 gauge for this. You can probably use 22 gauge if you're using German style wire, by the way, friends. Otherwise, I would use 20 gauge. Okay, so that's what I've got. And now I'm going to go ahead and feed this beautiful blue rondelle on there. Okay, and then what I do, guys, is kind of just center my wire now. So I just kind of try to get that on my bead as close as I can get it. Okay, and so now we're going to do a wire wrap loop and attach this component. So we will go in with our pliers, we'll put in our bend, then we're going to go ahead and grab our round nose, and we will come up and around with the wire. We will put the pressure to the top of the wire. We're now going to move that to the back to make our loop here, right? And then we're going to go ahead and let's open that up, slide our other component on, let it fall right there in the loop. Then we'll go ahead and close this up. And then we'll go ahead and wrap that around. So I'll hold this loop up here, and we'll wrap this around 3 clean wraps. Back that out. That was a terrible wrap. Well, I guess it would help if I use my dominant hand. That also might help my cause. 1, 2, and 3. There. That's a whole lot better, guys. Whole lot better. Holy moly. And guys, you know, if you cut too much, a little bit too much wire, you know, that's okay. I never get rid of my scraps, guys. Never get rid of your scraps. You will always find a use for your scraps of wire. So you can make head pins, eye pins, use them to make components, what have you. And that is what we basically have there. We'll open up and pop this on the ear wire. These are done. I already have my loop open there on my ear wire. Just make sure that's good and closed. And there we go. That is our first pair. Let's straighten things out a little bit here. And there is our first pair of earrings. Really, really fun and simple, but pretty nonetheless, right? Super, super pretty. So pair 1 under our belts. Let's go ahead and let's make these fun, guys. These, my friends, so simple. So simple. These are like one of those that I would consider like your 5-minute earrings. These are going to be your 5-minute earrings for both pairs. So we're going to make about a 6 to 7 inch piece of wire here off our spool. Warm that up, straighten it out. Use your nylon jaw if you want to. We want to work harden that a little bit. Okay, and we'll cut that off. So it's flung something. I have no idea what it was. Now, here, guys, what I'm going to do is, so you're going to want to take and kind of go a little off center, like maybe by a third on one side and 2/3 is on the other side. But before I do that, I'm going to put my first rondelle. I'm using 6mm. So this one, friends, has 5 6mm rondelles. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that there. Then I'm going to go ahead and push this wire up. So now I have 2 different lengths of wire. We need this long wire to wrap around. Okay? So now we've got the shorter piece. I'm going to go ahead and feed on my 5 rondelles. I'm just going back and forth between the white and the aqua. And you can make these as long as you want. You can use as many as you want. I just used 5. So there we have our 5 rondelles. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn it this way and kind of hold it. And I'm going to press this longer wire up against those rondelles. Just want to straighten that a little bit because I'm wanting this bottom rondelle to be straight. Okay. And now what we're going to do is grab a hold of your ear wire any way you, or your earring component any way you can. And we're basically going to just start to wrap this wire around. The first wrap's a little fidgety, and then we're off to the races. Okay, got my first wrap in. Okay. And you're going to want to just kind of hold your rondelles or push them down as you're wrapping. So I'm going to put a wrap in like that because see how it's wanting to pop up your beads. So just push them down. And then I'm going to wrap and push, and it's just kind of like a wrap and push situation. You can do it any way you want. There's no rules on wrapping these beads up. And now I am to the top, and so that's what I have. And now I've got that other piece that's here, right? So our stem wire. And then this one, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that around cleanly 3 times. I'm going to do 3 clean wraps here. So there's 3. There's 3. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and we'll trim that wire. And we can tuck that in a little bit. And now, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually roll in a simple loop. So I'm going to cut the excess here by, I don't know, down to about, 1/4 of an inch or so. We don't need that big of a loop. Be somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. We'll trim that, and we're just going to roll in a simple loop. And again, this is 20 gauge, so I'm not worried about it coming off my ear wire. And then, of course, let's straighten things out here now. And again, notice I did not concern myself with which direction I just made my loop. On something like this, you don't need to, because, as I was showing you before, your earring is going to look pretty no matter which way it's dangling, because the wire is just kind of randomly wrapped around. I'll straighten that out. And now we just pop that on our ear wire here. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that up. Get that closed there. And pair number 2. So cute. So cute. And notice they look a little bit different. They each look a little bit different. But they're so fun. And again, no matter how you're going to wear those, they're going to look really pretty. Just a nice, pretty little sparkly pair of earrings. So simple. So simple. So pair 2 of our earrings, is done. Now let's get the makings of this guy. Okay, friends. So with this one, I am literally going to repeat the same thing I did on the necklace, if you caught that video. If you did not, I will go slow to show you how I'm making this component. Now notice, on this one, friends, with our mermaid tail, when I do my spiral here, I notice how it's kind of almost squared right here on the side? That's intentional, right? So the mermaid tail really dangles around and is just really whimsical and fun. So pretty. So for this one, friends, let me pull you up a little bit. We will use the same 20 gauge. Or did I use 22 gauge? I might have used 22. Yep, I did, guys. Okay. So I used 22 gauge for that entire earring. Okay. So let's switch out our wire. Let me grab some 22 gauge here. Okay, so for this one, I'm probably gonna, I don't want to short myself on this one. So let's go about that much. So it's probably about maybe about a 6-inch piece. We'll go about a 6-inch piece. Now, in this particular component, friends, I do want to make sure that I'm flush cutting, so that is nice and flush cut there, to go ahead and start our spiral. So in order to start our spiral, we're going to go to the very, very edge of our round nose and make the smallest loop that we know how to make. So we're going to go right to the edge of our plier and the edge of our wire, and we're going to roll in a very, very, very small loop. Small as we can get it. And we're just going to stop whenever that hits the inside of the other side of our wire, just like that. Now we're going to grab a pair of pliers, and you can grab your nylon jaw, and we are going to be pushing with this hand in and down as we hold the spiral in between our pliers here. And we'll go slow and steady wins the race on this one, friends. And we're just going to keep going around, forming a little spiral. And you can make as many spirals as you want, as many rotations as you would like. I am going to keep in scale. That one's not good. Let me fix that. I'm going to keep in scale with this one, which it looks like it's about 3. So you can make that spiral as big or small as you want. Okay, so that's about good right there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take my wire and I am going to put it through the front of my mermaid tail and the hole here, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bend this up in the back, okay, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to push down the spiral. I'm going to push my spiral up, in other words. I'm sorry, did I do it up or down? No, I did it up. I did it up. Okay. So now is where we need to finagle. So we want to push that spiral up and have that right on top of that mermaid tail right there. Okay? And now we've got our wire straight back here, and our mermaid tail will move about, and we've got our spiral sitting right there in the front. And this is where I use the 8mm moonstone. And again, the reason I'm using the moonstone here is because, as you can see on this other one, it fits perfectly on top of that spiral. And that's what I want, right? We don't want the bead to be underneath because it will interrupt the little whimsiness that we need to have with our mermaid tail. It's so cute. Oh, I love these. I love these mermaid tails. Okay, so that's what we've got. And now we'll just feed the rest of our beads on. And so I have a 4mm pale blue rondelle. And then our check glass. These are those Hawaiian flowers in the aqua vitral. That's what we've got there. So, and again, everything is going to move about just beautifully. And what did I do? Did I do a wire wrap loop? I did. So that's what we have. We'll just make sure everything is straight the way you want it to be. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put my pliers. First of all, let me make my bend. I'm going to have my component this way. we will get our right bend in here. Okay, and then we'll do our wire wrap loop. So then I'll go in here, I'll pull the wire up and around. Let me pull you out a little bit. I feel like it's a little up close and personal there, sorry guys. And around, we'll pull that wire around there. And then we will make sure before I wrap that up, everything is nice and straight. And then we'll put some clean wraps in here as well to fill up that space. And let's make sure that we are landing in the back. So I'll trim that off in the back. And tuck that in a little bit there. Straighten out my loop. Okay, and that is what we have. That is our little component. So precious. Oh, just love it. And if you need to, straighten things out, guys, you can. But this particular component is literally designed to where, it'll move about. It'll have a little bit of movement and fluidity. It dangles so pretty on the ears, such as it does on my necklace. So pretty. And now let's go ahead and let me pull you out and let's make our ear wires, which we'll use our bail making for these. Okay. And let me grab a 22, another 22 gauge. Hold on, guys. I need to dig it out here. Let me see, which wire did I use there? I think it's this one. Yep, I think it's this one. Okay, so for this one, definitely want to work hard in your wire here, friends. Let me get things out of the way and organized here, friends. Okay, so we are going to straighten that wire out. And we'll cut about a 4-inch piece. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, friends, is I am going to go on the largest portion of my bail. And I'm going to put that wire right in between my bail making there. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap that down and around. Okay. Something like that. Turn it this way. Okay. And that's what we've got. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, guys, is we are going to use the small piece of wire. So you've got a smaller and a longer piece of wire. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll in a loop. And so what we're going to do is go on our smallest bail making. We'll go right to the edge of that plier. And we will go and roll in a loop. Just like that. Okay. And now we are going to turn this around this way. So where that's facing down now. And again, still using that small bail. I'm going to put my pliers right here. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Facing up. Facing up. I'm sorry. And then what we're going to do is no, I had it right. We're going to just rotate this around. So that small bail is on the bottom. Sorry, guys. I jelled. And now we are going to pull that all the way up and around. Just like that. Okay, and I obviously made that backwards, so let's flip it the other way. No biggie, guys. Oh, God help me. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get that pulled up, and let me flip this around the other way, for God's sake. Lord have mercy. Let me see how big it is, about right here. About right there. About right there. Now we'll just pull that wire up and around. There we go. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul, guys. Oh my word. Okay, there we go. And now I am going to kind of try to match that up a little bit there. Still a little long. And that's the great thing too, guys, about craft wire is, you know, you can work with it. Let's see if that's a whole lot better. Okay, guys, and now I am going to trim that about right there. So about right across from our little swirly swirl situation we made there. So I'm going to cut that, make sure I flush cut that right there. And then we'll go ahead and kick up the edge just a little bit like that. And then we will go ahead and grab your file, or if you have a reamer to round your wire, any of that will work. I use this at the moment. It's been working out pretty well for me, because you don't want any sharp edges going through your stem. So there we go. And now what I'm going to do, friends, is I'm going to go ahead and open that loop up, that top loop there. I'm going to open that up, and I am going to slide my ear wire on, or my component on my ear wire, where that's definitely facing the front. Then I'll close that loop and make sure that that is nice and tight right there. So that's not coming off. Work hard on that a little bit. And there we go. That is our second pair of earrings. Let me grab the other one. That is our third. Yeah, I have issues, guys. I have issues. That's our third pair of earrings we made today. I hope you guys had fun beading along with me. Happy Saturday, everybody. Let me get everybody in position here for their grand finale. Ay, ay, ay. And that was our fun little twisty situation. And we made our own little head pin on those guys right there. So cute, so fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, happy Saturday, my lovies. And until the next video, be blessed.